On April 13, 2023, in a quiet Kansas City neighborhood, an ordinary evening turned into one of the most haunting moments in recent American history. What began as a simple misunderstanding ended with gunfire, leaving a young man fighting for his life and an elderly homeowner dead before justice could be served. This is the story of Andrew Lester, Ralph Yarl, and the tragedy that divided a community and a nation. It all started at dusk when 16-year-old Ralph Yarl pulled up to a house on Northeast 92nd Street in Kansas City, Missouri. A bright, ambitious high school junior, Ralph had come to pick up his younger brothers from their babysitter. But he made a mistake, one that would cost him dearly. He parked in front of the wrong address, just 2 doors down from where he was supposed to go. Unaware of his error, Ralph stepped out of the car and walked toward the front door. Inside the home sat Andrew Lester, an 84-year-old retired mechanic who lived alone. Startled by the sight of a stranger approaching his property, Lester grabbed a .32 caliber revolver and opened fire without warning. 2 bullets struck Ralph, first in the head, then in the arm, as he stumbled back toward his car. Bleeding profusely, Ralph somehow managed to drive himself away from the scene, seeking help. Miraculously, despite critical injuries, he survived. Gravely wounded, Ralph managed to stumble back to his car and attempted to drive away, but he crashed into a tree just down the street. It was there that James Lynch, a 42-year-old neighbor and father of 3, rushed to his aid. Hearing screams for help, Lynch sprinted outside, jumped over his fence, and found Ralph slumped over the steering wheel, blood covering his face and arms. At first glance, the severity of the injuries led Lynch to believe the boy might not survive. Drawing on his Eagle Scout training, Lynch sprang into action. With the help of another neighbor who brought towels, he began administering first aid to stop the bleeding. He checked Ralph's pulse and worked to keep him conscious and alert as they waited for paramedics to arrive. Lynch also tried to keep the frightened teenager calm, asking him questions about his name and school to ensure he remained responsive. The incident shocked the nation. How could such a seemingly minor mix-up escalate so violently? For many, it was impossible not to see race as a factor. Ralph Yarl is black, while Andrew Lester was white. In a country still grappling with systemic racism and gun violence, this case became emblematic of deeper societal issues. Protesters took to the streets, demanding accountability. Lester was arrested shortly after the shooting and charged with first-degree assault and armed criminal action. As details emerged during pretrial hearings, tensions ran high. Prosecutors painted a picture of recklessness and prejudice, pointing to Lester's decision to shoot first and ask questions later. Defense attorneys countered that Lester acted out of fear, believing he was defending himself against an intruder. They argued that age and isolation had left him paranoid, though they stopped short of excusing his actions. In January 2025, nearly 2 years after the shooting, Andrew Lester pleaded guilty to reduced charges of second-degree assault and unlawful use of a weapon. The plea agreement spared both sides the uncertainty of a trial, but ensured that Lester would face sentencing for his role in the near-fatal attack. Yet fate intervened before justice could fully play out. On February 19, 2025, Andrew Lester died in hospice care at the age of 86, awaiting his sentencing hearing. His death brought an abrupt end to legal proceedings, leaving unanswered questions and unresolved anger in its wake. For Ralph Yarl, the scars remain both physical and emotional. Though doctors saved his life, the bullet lodged in his skull serves as a permanent reminder of that harrowing night. Despite everything, Ralph has shown remarkable resilience. He graduated high school with honors, earned scholarships to college, and continues to speak out about the dangers of racial profiling and gun violence. Public opinion remains deeply divided over Andrew Lester's actions. To some, he was a frightened old man who made a tragic mistake. To others, he was a symbol of unchecked privilege and bias, someone who felt entitled to take another person's life based on nothing more than suspicion.